Jim Jackson, one of our favorites, NBA on TNT, also works for the Clippers, a Fox analyst. He was on the call Tuesday night, Game 2, Warriors-Grizzlies, and the trio will be broadcasting Game 4, Jared Greenberg, Ian Eagle, in San Francisco on Monday at 10 Eastern, once again on TNT. Jim, thanks for joining us. Let me start with the feeling that you had in that game, that it felt like old playoff basketball, like these two really don't like each other, but they haven't played enough to have that rivalry where, Detroit and the Bulls or the Celtics and the Lakers, there's no history there. But when did you sense that this was big brother, and little brother was not going to put up with any nonsense?
Our coaches' meetings. Because before the game, we'll get into the green room and we'll talk to each coach and kind of go over, just some questions about game planning. And then one thing that, Taylor Jenkins talked about was that the Memphis Grizzlies, were going to be more physical in regards to the game because it meant so much that they were close, in game one, but being a young team, they made some mistakes. And they felt that they lost that game one. It wasn't the same when they lost to Minnesota. It's a young team, your shoulders are slumped a little bit, you're kind of disappointed. They felt upbeat. So from the beginning of that, and even Steve Kerr said it in the meeting with him, that it was going to be a much more of a physical game. And you can kind of feel the energy in the building as it started to ramp up. The clock started to tick down. You got to the national anthem. You looked at the focus of the players on each side, knowing how important this game was to both teams, that it was going to be a little bit different, a little bit more physical, a little choppy at times, but once again, a great game.
The difference between a hard foul and a dirty foul, or dirty play, is what?
The intent, to me, a lot of times. A hard foul is, I'm not going to allow a guy to get a basket. I'm going to grab him. I'm going to wrap him up. I'm not going to try to hurt him, but I'm going to try to influence the way that he's going to the basket or he's shooting a shot so he doesn't finish. A dirty foul is when a guy, you just going to whack and you're going to take a guy out. You can tell a dirty foul. It's so obvious.
Is Dylan Brooks guilty of that?
No, to me, I don't think that was a dirty foul. What I do believe is that once the guy leaves his feet, now Dylan Brooks in the past is known to come from behind and block a shot. But once Gary Payton took off the second, the impact of what Dylan Brooks did magnified the whole play. And it was a flagrant two in regards to, according to the rules, because it was a wind-up, it was a swipe, just like Draymond Green. Okay, Draymond's wasn't as impactful, and I say it because Brandon Clark really didn't get hurt. If Brandon Clark gets hurt as he hits the ground, because remember, Brandon fell and he couldn't brace himself. So if he gets hurt, that magnifies that play even more. And that's the difference between the two. I think GP, the way he came down on that elbow, it was a tough play here. And I think that is what really caused the outcry a lot more, is because of the overall injury.
Well, we look at the end result because,
exactly,
if Gary Payton gets up, then there's not this outcry of this guy should be suspended for game 3.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a hard foul. And then you mentioned Draymond Green. Draymond Green was upset that the fans were cheering that he got hit in the side of the head. He was bleeding a little bit. But does Draymond know that the reason why they're doing that is what Draymond did in game 1? So the fans don't know if he's bleeding or got a concussion. He's just flipping them off. Well, they're mad at him from what happened in game 1. And then he's like, don't you guys understand I could have had a concussion? I'm like, no, they don't know that.
No, they don't know. And Draymond is my guy. I've been covering him since Michigan State. And he's going to play the way he's going to play. And, we as athletes, we have a certain thing in our mind, well, fans got to understand this part of it. Well, it don't work like that. And again, his reputation precedes him. I'd love to play with Draymond. And the reason why is because I know what I'm going to get. I know it's a guy that's going to play. He's highly intelligent, high IQ for the game. He's going to play defense, do all the little things. But he's their enforcer. So he's built up this reputation over the years, good or bad. So when there's a benefit of the doubt, a lot of times, if you're not a Golden State fan, it's going the other way when you're at an opposing team's arena. So when things like that happen, I'm not saying it's right to cheer when a guy gets hurt, okay? At all. It always happens. An opposing player who is not well liked from the perspective of reputation. Now, if he played at Memphis, they would love him to death.
Oh, yeah.
They would love him to death. That's their kind of guy. But because he's on the opposing team, we as athletes are naive at times to think that fans are going to empathize with us a lot of times in a competitive situation. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm not saying that it's right that fans cheer. Heck no, it's not. But in the level of competition, they didn't know. They just saw Draymond Green get hit in the face. He was out. That was it. They were cheering that aspect because of what happened in the game before, because Draymond basically set the tone in regards to what this series was going to be all about with that hard physical foul.
But I want Draymond to be known for his play, because if I ask the regular fan, what kind of numbers did Draymond have in game one? What did he have in game two? We used to know those numbers. Now we don't. It's Draymond is getting known for something more than that, and that would concern me if I'm Steve Kerr. I got to have you in the game. I can't have you getting kicked out. You can be an instigator. You can be an enforcer. You can do all those things. Do it in the context of what we do and what we've done, and don't get yourself into individual trouble. And that's the only thing I would take away from that.
Well, but it's happened before, right? 2016,
I know.
When Draymond got kicked out. And that's the problem. Here's the thing, is that with a player like Draymond or any player like that had to work his way to get to where he's at. Not as physically gifted as a lot of players. So he had to use the thing in between his ears. He had to play more physical. He had to play a different brand of basketball in order to be successful. The league worked out perfect in regards to it being a smaller league for Draymond to really compete at that forward position. They figured it out as well as anybody. Will be one day a Hall of Famer. And you're right that his antics a lot of times overshadow how intelligent a basketball player he is. And I'm sure that even Golden State fans get frustrated with Draymond at times because, kind of like a Patrick Beverly, overemphasis on being the tough guy and making hard plays can come back to hurt the team at times at critical junctures of the game. And as a coach, it's like, okay, what's that bottom line? What's that gray area where I'm like, okay, Dre, I want you to be you, but I don't need you to be you in this situation because it comes back to hurt. That's the dilemma you face when you have a tense player like a Draymond Green that you got to allow to be himself. But if he crosses that line and gets one more flagrant two,
I know.
Guess what? He's out. And that totally changes how, as we saw, the Golden State operates defensively. More importantly, how they operate offensively.
We're talking to Jim Jackson, NBA on TNT, also Fox analyst. He'll be on the call Monday at 10 Eastern, Game 4, Warriors and the Grizzlies. Did you call out Ja Morant for the game-winning shot when he carried the ball and took 4 or 5 steps there? I mean, at some point, it becomes laughable, Jim, that, and I'm not doing old school as much as I'm doing, no, you shouldn't be able to have your hand under the ball. And then he took at least 4 steps.
Maybe 2.5 and a quarter.
No, did he travel? If that game is in San Francisco, is it called a travel?
It depends on who the referee crew is, because it was a play that Steph made. He basically took the ball over top of the defender, which is a carry. They didn't call it. So we can go back in between the game and figure out some plays in between where it was a carry, it was a travel. It was a charge, it was a walk, it was a block.
But are they more likely to call a travel or a carry now in the NBA?
Good question. I mean, that's a good question, because they don't call either.
No.
They don't call either. And that's the answer. Because here's the thing. My whole thing is going to be consistency. If this is how you're going, and I think players and coaches want this from officials. And officials have a tough job because they're graded out each and every game. In order to get to this part of the playoffs, you got to have a certain amount of points lined up in order to build up to get to referee, to official a playoff game, let alone a championship.
And you know that was a carry, and you know it was a travel. You know,
and I know it was a carry, and I know it was a travel.
Okay,
they don't call
that's all. Right.
So it
apology accepted, Jim. Apology accepted.
If the official doesn't call it, it wasn't a violation. That's what they say, right?
Okay. Phil Jackson's role with the Lakers. You're going to bring him in to pick your next head coach. What does this mean for LeBron's future in Los Angeles?
More importantly, how much control is the Lakers front office going to have with the coach they pick? See, here's the challenge with the Lakers. Jerry Buss did a phenomenal job of building, you know this from the beginning, building stars, because he wanted to have star power, because this is LA. So the Lakers, are enamored with name on the back of the jersey a lot of time instead of fit, whether that's from a coaching perspective or from the players. Think about it when Mike D'Antoni came and they got Dwight Howard. That wasn't a fit. But Dwight Howard had a name. He had a brand. Dwight Howard didn't fit in Mike D'Antoni's system. There's no way that was going to work. So the question is going to be, going to allow the coach that you bring in to actually have some construction control where it's going to fit and it's going to work. Because if not, then you're going to bring in another coach that you're going to kind of force pieces to have to fit based on management. And that's the issue with the Lakers. Who it is. You don't bring in the Ty Lue after he's won a championship. He's been trusted by LeBron James, but you want to offer him a 3-year deal and you want to actually kind of pick and choose his coaching side? Come on. That's the challenge you have, and that's why the Laker job is so difficult, just based around the philosophies in the front office. They've done it right for a long time, but they've also done it wrong. This is going to be very interesting to see Phil's role and who ultimately choose to lead their franchise moving forward, how much power that coach has over, again, roster construction.
I just don't see LeBron sticking around for this. I just don't. You look around, they don't have any depth. They got Westbrook and AD.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you have? In the West, Pelicans get Zion back. You're going to have the Suns that are still there, even though Chris gets a year older. Golden State is still there. Denver will get everybody. Yes, you got all of this.
Yes.
And
Dallas
LeBron
is going to be better.
Yeah, you have to look around and go, I'm not going to win another championship. Does LeBron then say, I got to go?
Mm-hmm. It's tough to dig into the mind of what he thinks because he's always calculating what the next move is. And, they don't have salary cap. They have salary cap restricted too. No draft pick.
Yeah.
So that's why they had to build the roster the way they did with 1-year contracts this year and try to trade to get a Westbrook in order for it to fit. The challenge is moving forward. It's like, okay, you can't move. That's going to be a challenge. AD is tough because of injury. And if we do move that, who's our future? Because there's always has to be a star, something there in LA. They are strapped. I don't know what LeBron's ultimate goal is because it's a moving target in regards to where he wants to be in his career. Okay, because LA was the next step, I think, in his legacy. He's won a championship, even though the asterisk part of it was the bubble. He's out in LA for other alternative things business-wise, which I'm not mad at. But his mind is always calculating, thinking about what's next. And I'm sure he and Rich Paul have talked about this numerous times about what it's going to look like next year. What is this team going to look like? And I'm sure AD is being part of the fold as far as being clutch. There's a trepidation there as far as, man, AD got to stay healthy. That's the only way we can get this thing done. We don't have a point guard in regards to how it fits. So it's going to be very interesting to see the language, the communication, what comes out, after the finals, leading up to the draft and free agency, what's going to happen with this team. But with LeBron, I just don't know where the calculation is. I don't think he's satisfied where he's at right now.
If you're watching on Peacock, you can see that Jim Jackson has quite a few sneakers behind him. So that
I like free stuff, man.
Okay. Let's do a guess here of how many shoes Jim Jackson has. Seton, I'll start with you. How many pairs?
I'm going to say 175.
175. Marv, what do you think?
I'm going to say 250.
250.
Oh, Marv. I like my man Marv.
Paulie?
In this room or total?
In that room.
105.
All right. Fritzy?
93 pairs of shoes.
93. Can you give us a look around with your computer there?
The problem is you can't see that door that's closed right there.
Oh, there's
more in
shoes.
Oh, dang.
Okay. So
So that's the hidden door right there. Okay, and then it's some on the side, floor and boxes.
golly.
I'm not PJ Tucker though. His shoe collection is ridiculous. He has custom shoes. I'm not that young. I just like my Adidas, my Nikes, my workout shoes. He gets the custom stuff and different designs on it. I'm a little bit more plain. I'm older, man. So
I'm gonna say 300 pairs of tennis shoes.
close.
What do you
I
got?
don't know. I don't know the number.
Well, give me a guess.
I don't know.
250? Okay.
And that's a rough estimation because I continue to get more. And it's just that I love sneakers. You know what I mean?
But if you had to grab one pair to get out of the house.
Oh. I'm always gonna do. I'm a head towards Air Force One, always. Because they're versatile. They can go in anything.
Okay, so there's no special ones like Jordan gave you a pair of shoes or any of that. Kobe, any of those things?
No. But those wouldn't be worn if they gave them to me.
I know, but you got to get out of the house with one pair.
Oh, you mean I just got to leave?
Yeah. Like you only get to save one pair of shoes.
It ain't that important to me. I'm getting out the house.
Well, no.
if all hell is breaking loose.
No, Jim, you're getting out of the house.
Oh, I thought you meant like I had to get out. Like
No, you're getting out of the house. I'm not setting the house on fire. I'm saying you're.
Okay, I thought you were kicking me out, setting the house.
No. Hypothetical. One pair of shoes to get out of the house with.
Oh man. You know what? If it was one pair, I'd probably do the Carolina blue.
Ooh.
These are all my favorite Jordan.
Man, those are nice.
Threes. Yeah. Right here.
You should have gotten Jordan to autograph those.
No. I had enough encounters with him during my career.
Would he sign the shoes if you asked him?
Oh, yeah, he would. Mike and I, here's a funny story about the shoes. I'm playing for the Nets, and we beat them. This is 96, 97 year. We beat them in New Jersey. So we go to Chicago to play. Some people told the story, but they didn't tell it right. So we're playing, and they want to get back because we beat them. Sam Cassell and I had a really good game. So Mike and I are going back and forth, just talking. You can't guard me. I can't guard you. Blah, blah, blah. We're going back. We lose the game. I had 33. Mike had 30-something. So we're going through the line to shake hands afterwards. And Joe Klein, that played for the Bulls before, pulls Mike to the side and says, Mike, let me leave my man JJ alone, my young fella. Mike said, no, JJ is my guy. But tell him that's why he's wearing my shoes. I was like,
it is weird to play against a guy. You're wearing his shoes, Jim.
Talking hella trash, right?
Yeah.
But Jumpman's on. I said I'm gonna continue to wear them too. So what? So, but that's my Jordan story on the shoes because that right there was the comeback of all. Just tell them why you're wearing my shoes.
Thank you, Jim. As always, great to talk to you, buddy.
Okay, good talk to you.
Safe travels. Jim Jackson, NBA on TNT, on the call. Monday, Game 4 with Ian Eagle and Jared Greenberg. That'll be on TNT. We'll close up shop after this.